We share the view that our best days lie ahead. And, taking out a chainsaw isn't quite my style. But we are stripping away red tape and bureaucracy.
Good evening, MV UK. It's Pete here, and it is okay to laugh at Keir Starmer there with his chainsaw antics. Anyway, let's get back to business. We are going to have a look at the full USA presidential visit yesterday in America, where Prime Minister Keir Starmer went to meet President Trump to discuss Ukraine, Chegoes, tariffs, and some more. I'm going to give you coverage on how some of the mainstream media covered it. They are pulling it in a different direction, and you will be interested to hear. So stay tuned for my take on that visit yesterday. Welcome back. Let's get into it. Right, so first off, we had Trump and opened up the press briefing, and he gave us a rundown of some points that he expects or that he sees, and so did Keir Starmer. So let's have a look at some of the clips that we've got. First off, we've got Trump talking about a ceasefire. Let's go.
As I discussed with Prime Minister Starmer, the next step we're making is toward a very achievable ceasefire. We hope that.
And that lays out the stall. We want a ceasefire, not a temporary one, an everlasting one. We want stability to the region of Ukraine. We want a mega deal. President Zelensky is on his way, is in America today, now, possibly at the time of making this video, which is Friday morning of the 28th. Okay, so ceasefire is on the table. We know that the US President Trump has already said that it's down to the Europeans to keep the peace in Europe. They will deal with more complex issues. Keir Starmer has made no secret in trying to pull the US in as a guarantor when they put troops on the ground. So Trump has actually stated...
Starmer, you've been terrific in our discussions. You're a very tough negotiator, however. I'm not sure I like that.
Exactly. We want the best deal for our troops on the ground. We don't know yet what Keir Starmer and David Lammy... sorry, I can't help myself when I hear that name. Ugh. What a weapon. So back on point, Pete. So what's Keir saying about the whole situation? Let's have a look.
I'm working closely with other European leaders on this, and I'm clear that the UK is ready to put boots on the ground and planes in the air to support a deal, working together with our allies, because that is the only way that peace will last.
What a warmonger. He cannot help himself. He is desperate to have a war and a conflict under his leadership. This is as scary as it gets. That there is a wolf dressed up in sheep's clothing. He is desperate for a war. He fancies himself looking in the mirror wearing his SAS smock, his military jacket, terminology of the type of jacket that he was photographed wearing when he went over to Ukraine. He wants to put boots on the ground following Trump's acknowledgement for ceasefire. But how far is Keir Starmer willing to go? In his own words, roll the clip.
And so the UK is all in.
That scares the hell out of me, that does. That scares the absolute hell out of me. He wants to put all in, planes, boats, troops, the lot, into harm's way. I covered this on my last video. So if you didn't see that, have a look up here somewhere. It will pop up and you can go back and see that. This is concerning because if they get attacked by Russia, by mistake, it could be an honest mistake by Russia. That is full-on war. World War III knocking on your door. So let's have a look at how President Trump then sort of sees fit of how we can achieve peace and stability to the region of Ukraine in Europe. Let's take a look.
The disaster in Ukraine shows exactly why it's so important for the United Kingdom and other NATO partners to make large investments in their defense capabilities. In many cases, 4% or 5% of GDP would be appropriate.
Wow. So Keir Starmer has just announced this week in Parliament that he's increasing the UK's defence budget to 2.5% from 2.3%, and raising it by an extra percent at 2.6% to cover the security services and all of the increased threat that we've got at the moment, predominantly by Islamic terror groups. Personally, I think we should shut the border, deport the criminals from the jails, freed up a load of space, saved a load of money, get rid of them, no good, chuck them out, dirty terrorist people. I'm going to curb my language for this. So yeah, so that's what Trump is proposing, to get that spend up to 4 and 5%, which is crazy, because if you think of people like France, they're only doing 2%. They've got to get another 3% on the board. We are not far from that, but we still got a hell of a lot of money to increase. Now, we all know that the money was taken from foreign aid, which has sent the Liberals off the Richter chart. Diane Abbott coming out strong. Jeremy Corbyn coming out strong in the parliamentary debate about the increase of defence spending. They are not happy, but then I don't really give a toss what they think, because they're both weapons who cannot be trusted with anything in regards to power. We dodged the bullet by Corbyn not getting into power. That was the best vote ever. So 4 to 5%, Trump says. How are we going to get the money? Well, if we read between the lines in the press conference, we had, we'll come on to the flattery aspect of it in a moment, because let's face it, what does the UK have to offer the USA? Absolutely nothing. Nothing. The USA outperforms, outstrips us in every department, and you can see that by the top team. Go back and check out my video about the Cabinet Office versus the US administration. You can see the video coming up here somewhere. Click on that and that'll take you to it. But yeah, there are ways that we can increase the defence budget without letting Rachel from accounts strip out any... Well, she's got no one else to strip out, really. She's done the farmers, done the students, done the pensioners, done the everyone, business owners, done the lot. So this could be the answer. Here, check it.
And we're the only two Western countries with trillion-dollar tech sectors, leaders in AI.
Okay, so there you have it. He feels that the USA and the United Kingdom are leaders in the AI tech revolution. Therefore, $1 trillion, kept that one quiet. Well, why hasn't that one been floated in Parliament yet? Or did I miss the memo on that one? All we're doing is having debates on the age limit of social media, or debates on this or that. Nothing meaningful. This would be an amazing tax raid to support the increase of defence spending. Do not let Ed Miliband get a sniff of that, because he'll want it for his net zero lunacy. Right, so let's cover the facts that they're doing all of this chat and they are polar opposites on the political spectrum. So how are they going to get this to work when their fundamental ideologies as people, as politicians, as belief systems, they don't match? They are literally oil and water on paper. So let's check out how he's going to try and get around this. The only thing that Keir Starmer's got is flattery. And the only thing that Keir Starmer is deficient in is personable character. He has none. He you know, the recent scandal with the voice coach to make him sound like a human. And you can hear him. It's pathetic. Here, let's have a listen to another nasal exchange.
Mr. President, it's no secret we're from different political traditions.
No way. So, with that in lieu, he's got to flatter the Trump. That's the only way he can get under Donald Trump's skin, is by flattery. So, I've got a number of them. I've got 4 of them we can look. Short clips. This is how they layered up the flattery over the period of the press release, the initial press release, the meetings through the day, the lunch meeting. He bolts on all of these points I'm going to show you now. Very subtle, very layered. Don't forget, for a day job, I do sales and marketing. So I'm proficient in understanding about how to put a deal together. And whoever's advising Keir Starmer has advised him to flatter the hell out of Trump. So let's have a look at it. Here's the first thing.
And it was so good to see the bust of Winston Churchill back in its rightful place just a moment ago.
Okay, there's your tell. Keir Starmer hates Winston Churchill. He hates the fact that he fought and won a free democracy, a free society, a society based on free speech, freedoms that we've learned to love, enjoy and share around the world. And that's the point. We're going into wars to stop dictatorship. However, this isn't Keir Starmer's mantra. No, Keir Starmer wants to suppress free speech. And you can tell it in the numbers. We've got, if you look at Russia, it's somewhere between 400 and 800 political prisoners. That's it. In England, we have 3,000 of them. So no, we don't have free speech. We have a man here with delicately thin skin. So he knows. Everyone knows this. Trump knows this. JD Vance knows this. So what does Keir do? He ramps up the flattery. Let's check it out.
And with your family roots in Scotland and your close bond with His Majesty the King, it's good to know that the United Kingdom has a true friend in the Oval Office.
Yeah, there you go. Well, the King's not his friend. The Queen was his friend. The late, great Queen, Queen Elizabeth II. God rest your soul. Fantastic lady. So I composed myself. I've met the Queen twice, you know, when I was on active service. Phenomenal. Phenomenally with it. Proper leader. Not like the FA Cup Charlie or this pillock here. Anyway, so that was one. Trying to get under the skin with the golf courses. Here's the next one.
1 and 2 for Nobel Prizes. 1 and 2 in golf as well, by the way.
Did you see his face? You can tell this is the first time he's reading this speech that was written for him. And that's another talking point. Albeit granted, Trump had paperwork and was reading parts of his speech as well. If you have a look at all of Keir Starmer's talks, he reads off of a paper. He has no charisma. He has no personality. He has no empathy with the British people or people around the world. He's just a lawyer, a cold, faceless, personalist lawyer who is a wrecking ball to this economy in this country. And then the final nail in the flattery coffin was this.
The importance of this bond. It was my privilege and honour to bring a letter with me today from His Majesty the King. Not only sending his best wishes, but also inviting the President and the First Lady to make a state visit to the United Kingdom. An unprecedented second state visit. This has never happened before. It's so incredible, it will be historic.
And that is exactly what Trump is made of. It's so incredible, it will be historic. The second state visit is unprecedented. Listen to the language. It's never happened before. This is rubbing President Trump's ego, the same that it would rub my ego or your ego if someone of such power and stature as the leader of the United Kingdom, we set the world up, sent it on its way, and now we run with it. He is literally laying this on so thick to get the support from Donald Trump. And the nice thing is that while we report this and I sort of bring to you my views on these situations and how these deals are going down and trying to just uncover the little subtleties that the mainstream media will overlook. The mainstream media hate this. They're trying to revert this down to ideology. Trump is big on deportations. He's big on America first. He's big on respect America, and America will respect you back. Which, look, don't take my word for it. I tell you, I've got all of the clips here. You can see this for yourself. Take a look at this.
Did possibly disappear. But when you hear President Trump saying, as he did this week, that the EU was set up to, quote, screw the United States, it doesn't exactly fill you with confidence that he's going to be batting on our behalf. I mean, Britain's behalf and Europe's behalf.
You're absolutely right, Matt. And the way in which Marco Rubio snubbed Kaja Kallas, the EU's effectively foreign minister, is absolutely stunning. And the Europeans, whether they're in the EU or just next to it, like we are, we're kind of in the firing line. We're in the vice. The Russians are out to get us from one direction. It looks like the Americans are out to the other. And it's not just the sort of diplomatic and military problems. There's also the feeling that there's a kind of MAGA international.
Here we go.
The people around Trump, and perhaps Trump himself, really support the far right in Germany, the far right in Romania, getting the Tate brothers out of prison in Romania, out of detention. They're supporting Nigel Farage here in Britain. So there's a kind of ideological attack.
Yeah, precisely. Did you see the look on Matt Fry, the presenter's face, when the guests started to bring ideology politics into it, about racism, about Tate brothers, about Nigel Farage? He literally was beaming. It was like, I've got a guest who's playing our narrative here. Oh, this is a goldmine. No, it's not. We can see straight through it. This isn't about ideology. This is about stopping the killing in Ukraine. This is about ending a war where thousands of young men, fathers, are dying weekly. The death count is off the chart. This isn't a computer game. These people are dead. They're gone. They're not coming back. And these people have the audacity to call it, to race hustle, to bring ideology politics into it. They've got no shame. People are dying and they're calling it racist, ultimately. Unbelievable. Anyway, we move on. So we didn't get a lot of information about Tariffs or the Chegoes. So let's start with the Chegoes Islands. Very important strategic base. I won't go into the history or philosophy of it now because you've seen a lot of it leading up to it. Trump actually floated the idea that he might go along with the Chegoes Islands deal, but extend the term to 142 years rather than 100 years. We're going to get some small print fine details coming out on this in the next few days as the information's presented to us. But ultimately, this is a hell of a bad deal for the UK because David Lammy, the idiot, the absolute fool, has managed to negotiate us into a pathetic deal where we give away what's rightfully ours and then pay for it. Originally, it was $9 billion, and now it's £9 billion, and now it's doubled to £18 billion. Well, Trump, do us a lemon. Tell him to stop it. Just stop it. It's not a good deal for you guys. It's not a good deal for us. Trump will go along with it because he doesn't have to pay for it. We do. Hang on a second. $18 billion. Add another 4 and you've got yourself another £22 billion black hole. Rachel from accounts is probably jumping off the bridge right now. I can't take this level of excitement. Anyway, so we don't know much about Chegoes other than I think that the team around President Trump will illustrate exactly the points of how bad this deal is, and he'll negate it. I'm hoping, I'm praying, please negate the deal. Save us £18 billion as a country. We haven't got it. We keep giving it to everyone who hates us and stuffing our own people. And then, of course, we go into tariffs. Very interesting because this is a businessman meeting a politician, a career lawyer, and then a politician who has no idea about the mechanics of business, the art of a deal. Whereas Donald Trump is going to strip him out and do him proper for the interest of America. With tariffs being spoken about the EU of 25%, the EU are literally parachuting out of the worry plane right now. We actually have a worse deal with America than they do with us. So we're actually not bad. We've got a strong position to negotiate. We are actually surplus for America, whereas the EU has a $300 billion trading deficit, i.e. America spends more with the EU than the EU spends with them. Therefore, America can say, right, we'll put 25% on your products coming into the USA, and the EU hate it. They're calling him a Nazi, a dictator, a fascist. However, what they've failed to hear is the word reciprocal. So Trump has said, quite frankly, to us, if you want to send your steel to us and don't put a tariff on it, I'm sure we can come to a zero tariff deal with you back. Absolute genius. That's what it should be. This is going to carve out a free trade world economy. Anyway, the EU don't like it. So Trump is putting 25% on them. Thank goodness we are not a part of the EU anymore. Yes, about time. So, yeah, if they drop the tariff, so will Trump. But I don't think they will. I think they want to do politics. They want to do, they want to use it as a mechanism to degrade the Trump administration. It won't work. It won't work. Anyway, on that note, I feel like I've gone on for long enough. We've had a good look at some of the snippets. I'll see you on the next one. Have a great day. If I don't speak to you before, have a good weekend. That's Pete, MV UK.